The Weaver of Dreams. Act 1. The Tavern and the Weaver. I remember the night she arrived. The tavern had been quiet, almost forgotten. The fire flickered weakly, and the walls whispered of loneliness. I was tending hearth when I heard the door creak open. I could feel the chill of rain as it followed her inside, and she was stepping slowly, hesitantly, a traveler named Liora, carrying more than the weight of her pack. She was carrying sorrow, fear, and dreams long forgotten. I poured her a cup of cinnamon tea. Welcome, my friend. You have traveled far. Her gaze wandered across the room, settling on a corner where the loom stood, threads hanging like captured rainbows. The weaver was an old woman, her silver hair gathered in a loose bun, her hands steady but worn, moving over the shuttle with a quiet grace. What what do you weave? Liora asked, approaching slowly. The woman's eyes twinkled as she paused and smiled kindly. What is needed, she said gently. The dreams of travelers long forgotten, the hopes they've left behind. They come here, and I help them find form again. I watched Leora take a careful step closer. Could could you help me remember mine? She whispered. The weaver nodded and motioned to the loom. Come, sit, let the threads speak, and if you wish, speak back. Sometimes words help as much as touch. Leora hesitated, then eased herself into the chair. I stayed behind the bar, a quiet presence, letting her feel the warmth of the fire and the hum of the loom and the safe rhythm of the tavern. Close your eyes, the weaver said softly. Tell me what you have forgotten. Tell me anything at all. And Leora did, in fragments at first. A laugh she had lost, a place she had dreamed of visiting, a kindness had given and forgotten. The weaver's hands moved with purpose, silver threads entwining with violet, gold blending into midnight blue, capturing what Leora could not yet see. It is all here, the weaver said with a gentle voice, even the parts you think were gone forever. Act 2. The Tapestry of Travelers. Night after night, some travelers came, drawn by the tavern's quiet glow. Some sought only shelter, others sought courage or a spark of hope. I guided them gently, a word here, a nod there, directing them to the old weaver or just to the warmth of the fire. Leora returned each evening. She began to notice the threads more clearly, the silver of joy, the deep violet of regret, gold for courage, and midnight blue for forgotten wonder. Every person who comes here carries a story, I told her softly. Every thread is a heartbeat. Watch closely and you'll see the paths they have lost and the paths they can find again. The weaver encouraged Leora to speak as she watched the loom. Your voice matters, the old woman said. Sometimes weaving is not just about threads, but about letting someone hear your heart. And slowly Leora began to contribute herself, adding small sparks of hope, tiny streaks of courage, and subtle threads of remembrance. Travelers guided by me found that they could face what they had buried. The tapestry grew, alive with their dreams, their fears, and their rediscovered hearts. One stormy night, a traveler appeared at the door. He hesitated in the doorway, his steps unsure. I met his gaze with steady calm. Step inside. The weaver will show you what you have forgotten. He crossed the threshold. Liora reached out a gentle hand, and the weaver encouraged him quietly. Tell me a memory, any memory. Let us see what it can become. The loom shimmered, showing him stories he had buried long ago. The fire seemed to brighten, and I watched as his shoulders relaxed, a spark of courage returning. I never knew dreams could be touched like this, Leora whispered to me that night. I smiled softly. They are all alive here, but only if someone listens, someone cares, and someone guides them home. As the weeks passed, more travelers came. A boy who had lost his voice, a woman afraid of the dark, an elderly man weighed by regret. Each arrived seeking solace. The weaver spoke gently to each. Liora helped them see their own spark. I guided their first hesitant steps towards hope. I observed quietly as Liora learned not just to watch the threads, but to understand them, to read the color of hearts, to notice which thread shimmered and which needed a touch of light. She had become a weaver herself in her own gentle way. The tavern, almost lost when she first came, now thrummed with life. The fire burned steadily, laughter returned, and the walls hummed with stories of dreams remembered and shared. Act 3. The Keeper of Dreams. Storms always came. Roads still vanished into mist. Hearts still faltered, but the tavern held steady. I stood behind the bar, my eyes scanning the room, seeing travelers restored to courage, hope, or quiet peace. The tapestry stretched along the walls, alive with each heartbeat and story. The loom hummed gently, keeping rhythm with the tavern itself, and Liora, who had once hesitated, afraid of her own forgotten dreams, now moved with a quiet confidence I had never seen in her before. She guided travelers, spoke softly, and added her own touch to the threads. The old weaver watched with approval, her silver hair catching the lantern light, hands resting gently on the loom, as if the rhythm were now shared. One evening, the old weaver beckoned her closer. It is time you take the threads in your own hands. Her voice gentle but strong. The loom will teach you what you need, but you must lead now. You have learned the language of hearts, the pulse of dreams. You are ready. Liora hesitated, glancing at me. I offered her a slow nod, my gaze steady and warm. The tavern approves of you, Liora, and so do I. The weaver smiled and slowly rose from her chair, placing her hands lightly on Leora's. I will be here, she whispered, but the weaving, the true weaving, is yours now. And so Liora took the shuttle. At first, her hands trembled slightly, but the loom welcomed her touch. Threads shimmered under her fingertips, colors brightening as if acknowledging the new weaver. The old weaver sat nearby, smiling softly. watching the next chapter unfold. Travelers still came, as they always did, seeking what they had forgotten. Liora guided them, listening carefully, asking gentle questions, and helping them find threads of hope, courage, and joy in themselves. I moved quietly among them, offering warmth, a cup, a nod, a gentle word, all the while marveling the tavern had truly awakened again. And I saw something extraordinary. The tapestry grew richer than ever. Every spark of life, every restored dream, every small courage stitched into the threads. I reflected not only the travelers' hearts, but Leora's own were invested in this. She had become a weaver, not merely of dreams, but of hope itself. The old weaver rested more now, letting Leora guide, yet still available for counsel when needed. And I, behind the bar, felt a deep pride, a quiet satisfaction. I had watched many travelers come and go, but few had transformed a place so completely. Not just the tavern, but its spirit, with patience, with care, and with love. Night after night, travelers arrived, carrying burdens or forgetting joys, and Leora met them with the same warmth the weaver had shown her. She had inherited the art, the magic, and the responsibility, a new keeper of dreams. The tavern hummed, alive with color and light. The loom shimmered, threads weaving stories that stretched far beyond the walls. And I, standing by the hearth, knew that the fire would always burn for those who walk through the door. Because dreams, even those long forgotten, could always be rewoven, stronger, brighter, and more beautiful than before. And Leora, the new weaver, would ensure the magic continued for generations of travelers to come.